My name is Paul Shelley, welcome to the AstroHistorian, and welcome to the lore tours of IAE 2952. Join me on the floor for your tour. It's the Alien Manufacturers Day on the floor of IAE. Today we'll be going over a brief history of these manufacturers before talking about the lore of the ships on the floor. Remember, if you like this, make sure you hit the subscribe button, as we will be doing a video for every manufacturer during IAE. With that being said, let's learn about the non-human ships of the verse. The first manufacturer we look at is the Banu ship Suli. Now, no one manufacturer exists of ships in the Banu Protectorate. The ships that humans are able to purchase in the UAE is part of a collective agreement between various independent manufacturers of the same ships, known as Suli. Suli are part family and part trade guild, and are the main unit of Banu society. Because the Banu don't have the same concept of intellectual property as humanity does, they see no issue in anyone who can make something to be able to make it. As they regard skill above all else, in their mind it isn't about who owns what, but who can make it the best. The agreement between these collective shipbuilding Sulis and the UAE is to keep a standard version for human use. So the Banu ships we get in the UAE are export ones designed exclusively for the human market. With that said, let's look at what the Banu have to offer on the floor. The Banu Defender is a dual-seat fighter. Because the Banu don't keep records, we don't know just how old it is, but we do know that it's the first alien ship humanity ever encountered, with a Banu pilot that came to be known as Jerry. The ship itself is a hodgepodge of different species components, with Xi'an thrusters, Devaran shields, Banu weapons, and much more. The main draw of this ship is maneuverability, designed more to bait attackers away from valuable transports than tackle them head-on and destroy them. The next manufacturer is actually two, both Xi'an. The way commerce works in the Xi'an Empire is again very alien compared to how we think it should work. The Emperor chooses which family house should be responsible for what products, with minor houses being sworn to the larger houses who use their resources to make the products. As a result, Aopoa and Gatac are actually Xi'an noble families, as well as companies. Aopoa is responsible for light manufacturing, and is known for being politically aggressive, having challenged the former house who built light craft to a competition, where they incorporated the imperial family iconography into their ship, which the other families were unwilling to damage, and displeased the Emperor, gaining Aopoa the right to make light craft. They're probably most known for their dealings with Misk. The two parties have traded technologies and plans between one another, with Misk getting Xi'an tech and Aopoa getting plans for the whole series of ships. While Aopoa wouldn't manufacture these ships, it's not hard to believe that they gifted these plans to Gatac as a means to leverage a favor from them in the future. Gatac is responsible for all industrial ships built in the Xi'an Empire. The house had close ties to the first emperor of the Xi'an, who granted the house permanent, irrevocable right of being the main manufacturer of industrial ships. Gatac is also dedicated to the study of alien engineering, and thus are frequently at any and all shipmaking conferences to learn more about the non-Xi'an way of ship design. This is why they are so fascinated by the whole series of ships by Misk. Let's look at what these houses have brought to the floor this year. First is the Aopoa Kartu'al, or Xi'an Scout. Its name literally means Direfly, the export model, as it is the export and human-modified version of a military light fighter. In fact, a capture version of the military model of this ship was the inspiration behind what would eventually become the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. This ship was maneuverable, fast, and can pack a punch with its twin size 4 weapon mounts. Since 2910, the Kartu'al has been exported to the human market, making it the first Xi'an ship exported to humans. The next ship is actually an open-topped racer, the Nox. This ship was inspired by human hover snubs like the Dragonfly. Xi'an and humans share a world of Oya 3, where they constantly interact and exchange culture with one another. One such cultural exchange was allowing Xi'an to ride the brand new Drake Dragonflies that the humans had acquired in the late 29th century. Word of how thrilling the experience was reached back to the imperial household, who gave permission to Aopoa to design their own version, which would become known as the Nox. The last Aopoa ship is the Santokyai, which translates to literally the ship that creates genuine fear. This is actually named for a flying creature called the Tokyai, which translates as the animal that creates genuine fear. So the Santokyai is similar to how humans naming a ship for hawk or falcon. This medium fighter is a new ship in the Xi'an fleet, as it has been observed by UAE patrols as late as 2915. Designated as the Ares by the UAE, the first up-close look humanity got was in 2941, when 4 were forced to crash land on an icy moon due to an oxygen failure. The UAE destroyer Eagle's Talon, possibly a Javelin, was dispatched to the site before the Xi'an could arrive, and sent Argo MPUVs with rescue teams to attempt to save the pilots. One group discovered one pilot alive but crushed under the wreckage. But as the crew attempted to de-ice the wreckage to retrieve the injured Xi'an, an explosion occurred, killing the crew and the pilot. Luckily, rescue crews were able to find another pilot alive and rescue them to bring them back to their people. While tragic, this was seen as a net positive for relations between the two species and empires, and is likely why Aopoa began the export version of the ship in 2948. The sole gatac entry in this year's IAE is the Raylan. This medium freighter was designed explicitly for both the human and Xi'an markets at the same time in 2951. It was built with the needs of human and Xi'an crew in mind, and will likely be the exact same ship sold to both species, with little to no modification. It features an armored hull, tractor beams, 2-man turrets, and can hold up to 320 SCUs of cargo. The last manufacturer actually isn't alien, but they are experts in all things alien. Hesperia, founded on Terra in 2873 by brothers Javi and Theo Engstrom, Esperia was originally supposed to be a repository for lost ship blueprints. The brothers were fascinated with rare lost ships, many of which were designed but never saw production, and were heartbroken when they realized only a fraction of these ships survived down the ages. So, they wanted their company to store and maintain these blueprints in the hopes that future engineers might be inspired by the mistakes of the past. When their business took off, they decided to take some of the funds from the sales of these blueprints to try and make their own versions of these lost ships. Since then, the company has expanded to build custom ships for private collectors, military training, and the public at large. They have dedicated departments designed to study and recreate lost alien technologies, which are the main offerings we see on the floor today. The first is a Vanduul blade. This light fighter was commissioned by the military initially for UAE pilots to train against, as it was a one-to-one recreation of the infamous Vanduul ship. Most of these ships were eventually returned to Hesperia as the blade became less frequent on the battlefield and the military contracts with Hesperia had expired. However, since the Battle of Uriel, Hesperia has made the controversial decision to begin retrofitting these old blades to be used by frontier militia and selling them to the general public. The next ship is another Vanduul replica, the Glaive. This reproduction was actually the result of a contest done for the original system's video game, Arena Commander. The Navy requested the Glaive's addition to the popular Vanduul Swarm mode as a means to educate the public on the dangers of the ship. The Navy had also commissioned several Glaives from Hesperia to help train UAE pilots years before, so Hesperia partnered with Original Systems for some of these replicas of the Glaive to be available to purchase. The next Hesperia ships are the Tavaran series of ships. In 2941, when the system of Cabal was first surveyed and discovered to have an ancient abandoned Tavaran colony on it, Hesperia was given access to study the abandoned ships and wrecks that remained in the old Tavaran defense hangars. These ships were studied by human and Tavaran engineers, archaeologists, scientists, and historians before being sent back to make more invasive studies on some of the surviving ships. The result was Hesperia faithfully recreating both the Talon and Prowler while updating them for use in modern day. The Prowler is a recreation of the infamous stealth boarding dropship of the same name, which was used by the Tavaran in the First and Second Tavaran Wars. These ships were crewed by the infamous Naule warriors, who could covertly board UAE capital ships and kill the entire crew before the alarm could be raised. The Talon is the infamous light fighter used by the Tavaran during both wars. They were famous for their hit-and-run attacks on shipping and ground targets and were said to have a distinctive whine and atmosphere when they dived to strafe human targets. They also built a later version of the Talon known as the Shrike, which was built for the Second Tavaran War, which swapped out the guns for missiles to try and overload the shields that human ships were then equipped with. That's what's on offer here on the alien manufacturer's floor of IAE 2952. Make sure to come down and check out all the ships for free for a limited time. If you haven't already signed up for Star Citizen, then use the referral code on screen now or in the description to sign up for free and try them out yourself. I'd like to thank you for watching and remind you to subscribe for more videos from the floor of IAE 2952. And if you enjoyed the video, think about leaving a like. If you really want to help out the channel, think about becoming a YouTube member or Patreon. For now, let me know your thoughts on the alien ships in the comments below. And as always, remember, ex historia ad astro.